Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are having a good end of your week. It looks like actually the rain maybe has stopped and we're going to have a mostly dry weekend. So hopefully that'll give you a chance to get out and about and do some fun things. I am so excited that this package came today. I don't even have stickers on it yet because I couldn't wait to show it to you. This is a new shipment from Memory Box. A lot of this is brand new. And before I get into showing you what we got, I just wanted to say, I know a lot of times, a lot of you say to me, oh, why are you doing this to me? There's too much fun stuff. And I agree, but I want you to know that I have it done to me as well. First of all, I ordered stuff this time that I wasn't planning on ordering until I saw the samples. And in my box today, I got even more samples. These are not things that I ordered. Actually, some of them are things that we've had before. It's a lot of their little whittle creatures, but they have a new sentiment set out, and they sent me these samples, and I'm going like, oh my gosh, I have to order these. So don't blame it all on me. Some of it you have to blame on these companies for making such cute stuff that we can't stand it, and we absolutely have to get it. How adorable is this card? Love that. Love the sentiment on it. So anyhow, it's not just me. They're doing it to me as well. So let's jump in. First of all, I want to show you a few items from their last release that came out a couple months ago. One item that we hadn't had in before, and some others that sold out very quickly and we got restocked. Their last release had a lot of sea and ocean themed items in them, and those are always really popular, and so we've gotten some of those back in again. First of all is this underwater scene. It's great. You get this circle frame that has the attached coral and seaweed, and then you get some individual fish dyes so you can create a fun little underwater scene. We're going to be doing a class with that in June. And here is another one, the seashell circle frame. This one is so beautiful. You get this die that cuts out the circle that has the seashells in it, and then you also get this these three separate dies with these three separate shells, and this is going to be in that same class. We already have a sample of that one, how pretty that one is. Here is another one. This is their Sailboat frame. This is one of their frame series. You have the outer square frame, you have the inner circle, and then you have some additional pieces that go with it. This one is so fun, and we're actually going to be using that in class, although we're really only using the sailboat and the clouds from it. We are combining it with the Scribble Circle collage, which we have in stock, as well as the Oceanside typewriter sentiments. That's where that sentiment on that one came from, and that is also going to be in that same class. We got back in this cute little happy octopus. You can use him on his own, or you can use him with some of these frames in the center there. And this is really cute because this one, the octopus is separate and the little tentacles are, and these little waves actually cut into it, so you can actually tuck those behind there. Super, super cute. And finally, this is one we did not have in before. It's from the same release. It's the wonderful whale frame, and you can see it has the beautiful frame that has the seashells, and then inside you have the circle that has the waves and these two whales. So lots of fun stuff. All right, let's jump into the new items. Actually, one more. This was from the last release, but we hadn't had it in before. It's a great sentiment set. It is called Bold Friendly Greetings, and you can see you have these large kind of handwritten greetings on here. And you also have this really fun polka dot kind of washi tape border stamp that you can do lots of fun things with, and I will show you some samples from that. All right, now we are into the new stuff. The first one is another new sentiment set. This one is called Big and Little Words, and if you look at it, you can see that there are different phrases that you can use to build up your own sentiments, and some of them are larger fonts and some of them are smaller fonts, so that's why they call it Big and Little Words. And in a minute I'm going to show you something that works great with. You can use it with all kinds of things in all of your cards. You also get this little label frame down here at the bottom, but lots of things that you can do with that, and I'll show you something in particular here in just a minute. There's lots of floral images in this release. This first one is the daisy silhouette, And this is a really simple die, but actually silhouette dies are really fun to use. There's lots of ways you can use them. You can cut them out of light colored paper and color them. I love to watercolor these. They also look really great if you do a pretty background and then die cut these out of like maybe black and put them on that background. So lots of things you can do. All right, Doris, here is something that you can use those big and little word for. They have these new dies that are their label dies. And this one is the antique leaf label. And you can see it has this label that cuts out in the center. And then this one has this spray of leaves that goes out from each side. And a lot of the sentiments from the larger sentiments from this set will fit in the center of that. And then if you want, you can use the smaller sentiments and add that on as well. And I do have some samples, and you can see exactly how that works. Here is another one. We actually have 4 different ones of these label dies. This one is called the Antique Corner Rose label, and you can see it has these 2 kind of scribbly roses at each corner with that label in the center. Here is another rose. It's the Antique Rose Cluster label, and you can see you have the larger cluster of roses at the top and then the small one at the bottom. And finally is the Antique Garden label. Hey there, Linda. And this one has a little bit more of a tropical flower. I know, I fell in love with these when I saw them. I just think they're amazing. This one has a little bit more kind of some daisy-like flowers and kind of a more open casual flower along with it. So wait till you see the samples for those. They are amazing. All right, next up is definitely a nice tropical flower, the Hibiscus Collage. And I always like these dies a lot because this one cuts out the opening. It does not cut the edges, so this does not cut out a rectangular piece of paper. All it does is cuts those openings in the center. And I love these because you can do a pretty background and then die cut this out of the top layer and pop it right over it, and you have an amazing card. Think how pretty it would be with some watercolor background or a color burst background or something like that. Love it, love it, love it. All right. This next item I think is so much fun. And there's actually 2 dies that work together. They can also work separately. This one is the Scribble Frond outline, and I just really like the kind of fun, sketchy look of this, a frond of leaves. And there is also a background die for it. And so if you want, you can use those together and layer that one over this one. But you can also use them both separately or use them together, but don't necessarily layer them together, and you will see some samples of that. This next one here is an example of something that I wasn't going to order. I thought it was pretty, but I'm like, this isn't brand new. I've seen things like this before. But then I saw the samples, and I'm like, okay, I have to put it in my cart. This one is the Scribble Roses outline, and you can see you get 3 different sizes of Scribble roses. It has very much the same style as the roses on the label, so they would work great with that. And there is then also the corresponding Scribble Roses background die. So again, you can layer those 2 together. And wait till you see some of the samples, especially with the Scribble Frond. So good. All right, last thing I have to show you is a new stamp set. This is a very large stamp set, and it is quite beautiful. It is called the Rose Bouquet, and you can see you get this large bouquet that has roses in it, and look, maybe some lilies and some greenery in it. And there's some additional little pieces that you can, just separate little flowers you can add on or use on their own. And then there are also, it's kind of a build a sentiment. So we have wishing and sending, and then some other sentiments that you can add on to that. And again, I've got some samples to show you that are absolutely stunning. So let's just jump right into some samples because I think you are going to love them. Here is the Silhouette Daisy that I showed you before. You can see there a pretty background, and again, it looks like they probably just cut it out of watercolor paper and added some color on there, so very easy to do. And I would bet you anything that that sentiment is probably from the Big and Little Words set. Here is the antique leaf label, and I just think that is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. There you can see they've used the big and little words, the thank you inside, and then they have done the sweet friend on a piece that is on the outside. There is nothing that I don't love about that card. I think it is gorgeous. Here is the antique garden label, and again, so pretty, and the use of the big and little words there to build their sentiment. This is the antique corner roses. And finally, there is the antique rose cluster label. And all I can say is, I don't know how you're going to decide which one you want because they are all so beautiful. All right, here is the hibiscus collage that I was telling you about. You can see there it's got the pretty background behind the white cutouts. They've also taken the piece of the stamen there that cuts out and colored that yellow and pieced that back in, so that's always something you can do. Again, the thank you from the big and little words, and I think that those leaves are actually from the Scribble Frond background die. So remember, sometimes you can cut your die cut pieces apart and just use pieces of them. All right, here are the Scribble roses and the Scribble Frond, and you can see what I'm talking about, how gorgeous they are, and why they just had to go in my cart and come to live here for a little while. And let me show you some other samples, because as gorgeous as that one is, look at this one. I love this one. I love how they have done the Scribble Frond in the tone on tone to create that interesting background. I just think that is an amazing, amazing card. And they have just used those roses, and not as the focal point, but as an accent. So it's something you can use as well. Here is another example with the Scribble Fronds, and you can see they've used both the outline and the background, but they haven't layered them. They've just used them separately and combined them with another flower die. And last but not least is the Rose Bouquet stamp set. How gorgeous is that? I think that is beautiful. It looks like they've done some beautiful watercoloring on that. I think it was gold embossed. It's probably a little hard for you guys to see, but they stamped and gold embossed it and then came in and watercolored it. But here is another example with a much softer watercoloring again. So beautiful stamp. Also notice that when you have really big stamps like that, you don't necessarily have to stamp the whole image right in the center. This is not the whole stamped image, it's just a part of it stamped up in the corner. So you can actually use the same stamp and get different looks depending on what parts of it that you use. All right, that is it for right now. I do have another box to check in, and I'm going to try my best to get it checked in, but I have quite a bit of work to get it ready. But as soon as I do, I will come back and show you what's in that box as well. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.